Absolute Flash, issue 7, Jeff Lemire writing with Travis Moore on the art in this issue. So I quite enjoyed this. I enjoyed the build-up, because like basically it starts off with Wally walking in a storm, and it's like kind of the implication, because I immediately was like, wait, the news reports are talking about the storm, it's thunder and lightning. I'm like, wait a minute, we're getting weather wizard shit here, aren't we?
Yeah.
They're building up to weather wizard. And then not only that, they even build up to some Mirror Master stuff, because there's a moment where Wally walks away and like his reflection sort of keeps smiling at him. And I'm like, oh shit, we're building up to these new other rogue characters that we've not gotten to yet. This is fun.
That's one of my favorite tropes, like in a horror movie, or even with here in Flash with Mirror Master, the reflection that looks back. It's so creepy, and it never fails to give a chill down my spine. Which here, you know, there's a lot going on, so you know, him just walking by, him of course not noticing it. There's a storm or whatever.
Yeah,
he's got Grodd with him, so.
Yeah, I just really liked the build up in this issue. It was really focused. You know, it's like it's just Wally going to get something to eat at a store, kind of trying to like argue for like getting it for free because he's got no money. There's an interlude with his dad and like Eleanor Thawne, who's like going to have him killed, but then he's like, no, I'll bring my son back at all costs, I promise. And she starts talking about this like specimen, like an alien or whoever it is they've got in a test tube, and she's like, oh, we found, you know, what came before us, we found the god. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at this creature, and I'm like, it looks a little bit like one of the Green Lantern species, but other than like Salak, but that's like the only thing I can think of, really.
It's also got some Martian vibes, like Green Martian vibes, you know, from traditional, and when they have the big cone kind of head. But to be honest, I feel like this is like new. The way she's talking about it as their predecessor, right, is almost like I'm wondering if this is something to do with the Speed Force, right? This was an ancient alien species or whatever that had tapped into it or whatever, you know, where we are. But yeah, she's definitely given sinister vibes. Like so far out of all the absolute villains, she gives me the creeps the most. Because I kind of know where Ra's al Ghul stands. We haven't really got to know Joker yet. But this Eleanor Thawne, just her creepiness, the way she stares at this thing in the test tube, it just, it gives me the chills.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd say she's creepier than, say, like, I don't know, like Absolute Joker so far has been very ominous. Like, you know, he's been very mysterious.
But we haven't gotten much to him yet. We've seen him talk a couple times, right? We know he's behind the Arc M stuff, but you know, with her, she's been a pretty big character in her appearances. She's been in like what, 2 or 3 of these.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just don't think she's that like. I mean, she's fine, but like she's a bit just kind of generic. I'm the villain, like monologuing, do what I say. Like I don't know. I just wouldn't say she's that creepy to me. She's just kind of fine.
No, she's just the way that she's talked about them as, you know, creations, and just there's this sense to her, like a definite cold like mad scientist type, where everything's an experiment, nothing has feelings, nothing matters, she just wants to get the results. There's that vibe with her, and again, that just, those type of villains always give me the creeps. It's kind of like Brainiac, although I guess you could argue that that's also Brainiac in Absolute Superman. You know, we got some of that, but with
Brainiac's way creepier than this character.
Yeah, I take it back. Brainiac's giving me the creeps way more at this point, so much so that I repressed it and I buried it deep in my brain. So
yeah, I really like the again, the atmosphere, like, because the rogues are flying in on this ship, and like they're like basically dodging lightning as they're flying, and they break because Wally got arrested for trying to like you know, take all, because he
shoplift.
He collapsed when he was trying to like shoplift because he ran out of energy. So he wakes up in a jail cell, and it's actually, you know, the cops are like taking out his outfit, and they're sort of, what the hell is this? And the rogues just break in, they bust a big hole in the wall, and Captain Cold basically just says, hey, you know, come with us, right? We'll go find Grodd. And Wally kind of just agrees. You know, he's a little reluctant, but he's kind of like in a bit of a bind. But he's like agreeing to help with his powers, and he's like, I'll need a snack, so they give him like an energy bar or something. And it's like, okay, we have to find him in the storm. So Wally goes speeding around looking for Grodd, and actually gets hit by lightning a couple times, and we eventually see Weather Wizard, and he just straight up looks like a wizard in this. Right?
Yeah, he looks like Gandalf in street clothes.
Yeah. Well, even his coat feels like a big. I mean, it's a trench coat, but it's got like almost like a wizard cloak kind of flow to it. So it adds to the whole wizard look with the long hair and the beard and all that.
For sure.
And then we basically get that moment from the first Avengers movie where Thor like hits Iron Man with lightning, and he's like, "Oh, you've just supercharged me." That happens here, where Wally gets hit with lightning, and he's like, "Wait, I'm not hungry anymore. You just gave me a burst of energy." So yeah, he knocks out Weather Wizard. And the ending to the issue is basically Wally saying, you know, I'm not going back to that lab with you guys, right? You realize that. There's no way I'm going back. And then Cold says, neither are we. And they're like, wait, what? And he's like, nah, like, we're the ones with all the powers now. We can do whatever we want. And the issue ends with them saying, hey, how about it, kid? You want to go rogue? And, you know, smirk. Now, obviously, the last issue was the one where we flash back and we sort of showed how the rogues all got recruited, and they were kind of all recruited under duress, you know, forced, being manipulated, or like, you know, like, hey, you'll be into trouble if you don't come and help us, kind of thing. So they can very much set up that they don't like the idea of who they're working for. So now, do I think that they're going to be long-term allies of Wally? I'm not sure I'm ready to jump on that. I see it breaking down at some point, but you know, it's an interesting direction to go in that's very different from the regular universe, so I'm definitely down to see what they do with this.
Yeah, and I also love the frenemy part of it, because that's what I always associate Wally with the rogues, where he is more like a, come on, guys, I don't want to take you in, what are you doing? So I like that this subverts it here, where they're supposed to be bringing him in, right? But it's like, we're not going back there. We're the weapons, you know, come with us. You know, and it's going to be an uneasy alliance or whatever, but I do like that it subverts what we normally get with this. So, but yeah, the weather wizard stuff was really cool. Like you brought up like in Thor, right? With the supercharge or whatever. He kind of looks like a version of Thor here. So,
I mean, I think that's just happenstance because it's long hair and a beard.
Yeah, but just with the weather and the storms and the whatever, like again, it can't be a complete accident.
I mean, no, I think it is. Like, I think you're reading into this in a way that you don't. No, you always do this. You see something you want to see, and you say, no, I think it's intentional. No, they made him look like a wizard, right? His name is Weather Wizard. They're going for a classic wizard with long hair and a robe. That's what they're trying to emulate here. Any parallels to Thor is just you, right? It's just you.
Fine, but with the way he was throwing lightning and stuff, I was definitely getting Thor vibes, like Thor of the mythologies, and whatever. So not the Marvel version. You don't necessarily need the hammer, right? But yes, definitely a lot of fun in this. The scene with Wally stealing the food and him trying not to, again, it just shows like he is a good kid who's caught up in all of this, and him trying to bargain with the lady. And he's like, no, if you want food, you got to buy it. So that whole sequence where he's trying to speed around and then he passes out because he has no energy. I thought that was very well handled. And definitely gets to the who Wally still is.
I feel like one little protein bar giving him that much energy to go and take on Weather Wizard. I feel like he should have to eat more than that to get back up to full speed. But I mean, whatever. I'll let that slide. Because I think the build up here was good. I think the ending's a fun direction for it to go in, and I do like the idea that when Weather Wizard wakes up, they might try and win him over. Like, hey, join this team. Why wouldn't we? Now, obviously, that tease a Mirror Master at the start with the reflection. That's a very separate thing, and we'll see where that's going. Because we know that the Mirror Masters are already starting to meet each other from the different universes. So, very curious to see where we go with that. But Travis Moore and art, obviously a different artist than normal, but Travis Moore is a very clean, very pleasant artist to look at his work. It's very it's maybe a little different energy wise than what this book's been, because the previous artist was doing a lot of like those overlapping things with the red and yellow kind of lines to represent the Speed Force. This was a bit more straightforward in a sense, but it was very pleasing to look at the entire time. I have no real complaints about it.
No, and I think all this speed stuff is very much what we associate with traditional Flash. So while it wasn't the absolute thing with the repeating lines and the energy bursts and whatever, it definitely, I feel like with Travis Moore and all the work that he's done and like Titans and Nightwing, and we've had Wally show up, this is what it felt like. So at least that familiarity helps. But yeah, I thought all the action sequences with the rain and the lightning, I think were very well handled. Like there's a lot of energy in them with the way that Wally's running and getting thrown around by the wind. So it makes it for a fun read. And then when he connects with Weather Wizard, that's where it kind of more feels like the Robles stuff. Just I don't know if it's the coloring, I don't know if it's the way that he's drawing the energy or whatnot. But yeah, I didn't have too many problems with the art here.
No, I mean, it's arguably it maybe even fits Lemire's writing style a bit better than the regular artist. But it looks very pleasing. It made for a quick read because it is such a nice, clean, kind of fast-paced book. I think all the stuff with the lightning all looked pretty great. I had a good time. It's kind of obviously we had that sort of rush of like the arc ending before the last, because the last issue was that very separate kind of flashback thing. But ultimately that was there then. That flashback issue is where it was because they wanted this ending for this issue, and it feels like that issue set up one that they're all disgruntled for working for his dad and Eleanor in the first place.
Eleanor.
But also this idea that they've went rogue before, so this ending doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel out of nowhere. It feels like you've set this up. You've set up that they would have this attitude, and effectively by giving them all these powers, because they didn't have powers to begin with. It was all said, hey, we'll give you powers, we'll give you technology that you can use. Now Captain Cold's like, well, we got powers now. What are they going to do to stop us? So that's exciting. So it's a good direction to go in. Had a good time.
It makes me wonder what else she has up her sleeve, right? Because who was the other character that Wally helped out when he was staying with the Dibneys a couple issues ago? Him and Grodd went to go help.
Was it Tar Pit? No, it wasn't Tar Pit.
It was very similar to Tar Pit.
Heatwave?
Yes, it was Heatwave, and that was a little bit different than what we're used to with him. So I'm wondering what else she has. Like, if we have the rogues, who is she sending after the rogues now? Like, again, what's out there? So
I imagine
Grodd's accounted for.
Yeah, I imagine Sheila's going to be pretty pissed when she realizes that this team is gone rogue. Yeah.
So, a lot of fun. I'm glad this book's rounding into shape. It become, this last issue and this issue, I think, were two of the stronger ones. So, I'm happy to keep going.
No. I mean, I think even the first arc, it was getting better as it went along. But yeah, no, it's feeling a bit more, like you say, set in place the further along we get. So, all right, what are you giving Absolute Flash, issue 7?
I'm going to give this a straight 8.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it was a really good issue. I had a good time, excited for the next one.